To Fjords. Fjords can be one of those maps that is very difficult to push on, or it can be a very campy map depending on, where you're going to be. So I'm going to show you everything that you need to know about all the different types of tanks, where they go, where they could be. So let's get straight into this. First, light tanks. Now straight away, light tanks, if you spawn on this side of the map, I'm going to show you both sides, don't worry. But from here, you want to try and get into the middle. Now, when I say the middle, I mean around about here. Because if you get into that position, then you can actually have a very nice spot on the enemies. Straight away, we're going to ramp up here and try and get behind these bushes, because a spotted light tank is more than likely a dead light tank. You don't want to be spotted in your light tank, especially the first few minutes of the game. And right here is the first spot that I was saying about. From here, you can actually spot anyone that's going to be moving from that side of the base to here. And this has basically no cover as they're moving forward. You see how this rock here and here, there's the rock there, and the rock is, well, it's just around that corner. But from there and there, you'll spot everyone that's moving there. And if you get here fast enough, then you will spot anything that's coming that way. So this spot is very nice. A lot of people will tell you, just go up into the middle. I wouldn't recommend that. It's almost suicide, because as soon as you go up to this spot here, you get spotted by anyone that is sitting around here or around there. And let me tell you, a lot of people sit around here, especially if they don't know how to play the map. Because I've seen heavy tanks, medium tanks, every class sit here. Well, not SPGs, but I've seen every class sit here. And the light tanks go up here because they think, okay, let's just have a quick spot, and they die instantly. Because they just spotted, dead. Because they've got 10 gun barrels all pointed at them. So I wouldn't recommend going up here. It doesn't really work. It's kind of suicide. If it does work, then you're insanely lucky. So, yeah, take that with a pinch of salt, but I wouldn't recommend it. Another thing about this position is you can move up along here and use this rock as cover. There's different locations that you can be. Because this entire ridgeline is basically concealed, you're in a pretty decent camo position. As you can see from here, you can actually have, shots on people, although I wouldn't recommend shooting in your light tanks at the start of the game, because you want to kind of spot the enemies. But yeah, so this is a decent light tank position. The next position for this side of the map is up here. Now, be warned, this is going to take a while to get here. So I'm going to explain to you why I wouldn't recommend doing this at the start. But this is quite useful for later on in the game if you've kind of lost, I don't know, you've lost this bit here and you get overrun. Maybe you can fall back, go around and try and get some spots on. Again, this situation doesn't happen too much. It's quite a situational position. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend doing this at the start of the game. But I'm just going to show you it just because it is another spot for a light tank. Now, when you come over this hill here, this is the hill that you really need to watch out for. You want to go as wide as possible so that you don't get spotted. Because as you can see, obviously you have your detection range or your view range. And as long as that stays past this bit here, then you'll be okay. But you want to keep going down here. And you see this tree? That's where you want to stop. Now, you want to make sure that you don't knock over this tree, because if you do, then you're in a pretty bad position. But from here, you can see basically everything. And as long as people don't push from here, you're pretty safe. So this position is a bit more risky than this one here. It can work. Again, I wouldn't recommend doing this at the start of the game, because you could just go here and basically get the same position. But this position is nice if you want to be a bit more risky. Okay, so what about this side of the map? This side of the map is actually a little bit unfair, because that side of the map can easily get positions which can spot you no matter what you do. But having said that, you can go to any one of these bushes. I would recommend maybe this bush here, because you can actually almost double bush yourself. And then you'll get some vision on up there. But just be careful, you don't want to have any bushes in the way, otherwise you won't spot them. So anywhere along here will do to try and counter this if they then over peak and they reveal their position. Because as you know, I've already spoken about this, that's the position that I would recommend people go to. So if you over peak that position, this position will easily spot you. But yeah, this position, it doesn't have that much camo, and you could get easily spotted if someone has insane view range. So yeah, This is what I mean. It's very, very biased towards the one that has the hill. So, obviously this side of the map. You can go around here. You can go up there as well, but I wouldn't recommend that at all. There's way too little cover. It's not worth it. If you're more of an active spotter, then you could actually go and counter this position that I showed you. As long as you win the middle, you can do this. Because if you don't win the middle, you're going to get absolutely smashed by people that are sitting around here. So yeah, you can go and counter this and then quickly move away. You can also try and go up here, try and get into this bush here, and then you might be able to do some spotting. It all depends. There's lots of positions that light tanks can go. It's just very biased towards this side of the map, I feel. And there's not so many positions that a light tank can go on that side. Okay, so what about medium tanks? Medium tanks have a few different places they can go. Heavy medium tanks like the 430U, I would recommend doing this. Straight away, you go down the middle of the map. Now, I know this might seem like suicide, but the 430U is fast enough to get there without taking too much damage. It is a bit risky, and it does only work if your team controls this bit of the map. Now, why do I say that? Well, because you'll find out in a second, if your team doesn't control this, you're easily killed. As soon as your team dies here and they take this position, it's over. It's just, yeah, there's nothing else you can do. But you want to go down here. You might meet a few tanks that are going to be here. They're going to try and go through the middle. I wouldn't say there's going to be loads that come down here, but you might see one maybe. But go up this hill, and now the problem with the 430U is that it doesn't have great gun depression, but you can, as long as you go a little bit wide, you can shoot people that are around here. So tanks with gun depression are going to thrive in this position because this is where you would meet the enemies. The person's going to be about here. Faster ones would have already moved up to here, but you can counter them by spotting them, and as long as you have tanks that are over there, they'll just die. It's end of story. Now this is why I say it only works if your team is winning up there. Because if there's someone here and they move back from the heavy tanks and they overexpose themselves at the back, they'll get shot from the hill. So you can easily just absolutely demolish people that are here. You spot for your team, and as soon as you win this little battle here, you'll then more than likely win the battle. Now, as I've said, it does depend on that hill. That hill is the other factor for this position. But once you control this bit, as you can see, you just move up, do a little bit of spotting, let the hill absolutely demolish anyone that's around here, and you can just continue moving. Okay, so you take exactly the same route as the light tank to come up here, and it will take you a lot longer, but you'll get here eventually. Now, where I'd recommend you sit is, first, maybe you can have a little peek over here. If you get spotted, just move back, but you do have great vision here. As you can see, you'll be able to render in all the vehicles that are around here. No problem. So you can do this little bit of a sniping position here and just shoot anyone that's around there. However, if you actually really want to actually help your team here, then sit around here. Because from here, you will get amazing shots on people. Obviously, you can't really see right now because of the trees. But if I just go and remove them real quick, as you can see, that's the rock that I was telling you about, and that's the bush that I was telling you about. And if someone's spotted there and they overexpose or overpeak, you can easily have shots right there. And anyone that's coming up, you've got shots on them. So this position is really powerful to assist this position here. And I tell you what, if you're in a platoon, having one person go here and one person go up there, or two people going here and one person going up here, or, you know, any combination you want, that will really work effectively on this map. Because you could really dominate the mid, and then once you dominate the mid, that's it. You can easily push this because you just, as I said, you spot here, and people, as long as there's people up here, they just absolutely dump on people that are sitting around there. So yeah, that's medium tanks for this side of the map. Okay, so this side of the map. This side is more dependent, well, this position that I'm going to show you is definitely more dependent on if you're in a platoon. Now, if you're in a platoon of 3 Object 430Us, I would actually kind of recommend you do this. You can be pretty dominating in a platoon of 3 Object 430Us anyway, and this position can really control the game for you. So straight away, I'm going to go down the middle of the map. I know I said it was suicide, but if you are in a platoon of 3, obviously there's more hit points to go around. You're going to take a few shots maybe, bounce them if you're lucky, from people that are sitting here and trying to get in. But 430Us through here and just take this position. Just literally, you just want to take this, because this is then going to block off the enemy team from actually getting into this position and then dominating the middle. And if they don't have domination over the middle and you have domination over the middle, then you can afford to actually push this. So this map is very much dependent on who dominates the middle, and then that's usually who wins the game. It's quite... I've played about 13,000 games now, and obviously not all on this map, but usually if you win the middle, you're more than likely going to win the game, unless the heavy tank flank completely dies. Yeah, you're going to win the game. Yeah, this position right here, as you can see, you are a little bit hull down, which is amazing because the 430U's turret is just insane. But having a platoon of 3 of these all working together with like Disc or TeamSpeak or whatever, this position is insane. So yeah, this position works if you're in a platoon. What about the other spots? Well, I want to show you how to take the middle effectively. Now, a lot of people just rush in here and then they die because they overpeak this, as I've shown, and they're just dead instantly. You can take the middle as long as you don't overpeak stuff. And now I will show you. However, you do need more than one person here. You try and take it on your own, much like with anything in World of Tanks. You try and take something that is on your own. It doesn't normally work. There's very few spots in the game that work where you're solo. But it's right here. So you will probably meet someone here. However, I would recommend straight away just ignoring them, taking one hit, and then getting into this spot right here. Because from this spot right here, you can back up. Oh, put that rock there. You can back up to around about here and try and dominate anyone that's pushing up here. You're safe from there. You're safe from the hill. And you only have to worry about this person here. Do not overpeak and go like this. Because at that point, you're exposing your ass to the enemy. And it's over. Also, once you do win this spot here, you have a lovely, lovely hold down position that you can get into, as long as you can actually maneuver yourself a little bit up. But yeah, there you go. So you can actually shoot people that are over there. However, because the 430 is quite a low profile tank, I wouldn't recommend doing it in this tank, but you can do it. You're a bit exposed to that, but yeah. It's a nice spot, especially with a 277. I've had great games here. 6k damage battles just from going hold down here and just shooting people. So yeah, it works for heavy tanks. It works for medium tanks. I wouldn't bring a light tank here or a TD, but you know, it works. Last spot for medium tanks. Now, this spot, it can work. It, at the same time, is dependent on the middle. A lot of the spots in this map, as you've probably seen, are dependent on other locations on the map, and you really have to read this map to be able to justify where you go. So honestly, straight away, maybe move into the middle if you spawn this side and you're in a medium tank, and then depending on which, if you take this side, then yeah, you can then think about moving in a bit more. So that's why a lot of people sit here, because they don't really know what to do, and they'll just camp because they don't know how to push this and they don't know how to push this, and it just doesn't work. But straight away, you want to camp through here and you want to go around this. You're going to get spotted from the middle if there's anyone there, but as long as you follow this road and get behind this rock, you're actually in a pretty safe location from the middle. The only way that the middle is going to now shoot you is if they actually move up here or move up to there and actually get shots on you. So as long as you have someone in the middle that's preventing them from effectively pushing up, then you should be fine here. And you will spot a few people that have overextended here, and then you could in fact go over here into around these bushes, although you're at a, you know, big exposure to anyone here. You can then shoot people here. So yeah, this position can be taken over, but it's rare that it happens. Another thing that you could do is, if you know you're going to win the mid, just straight up be aggressive. Just go straight in, Because as long as no one's peeking there and you're stopping anyone from peeking there, your team can easily push up through here. And when you get to about here, you're in a pretty safe position. Because you've got this rock covering you, and then you can shoot anyone here. But, please, don't start being aggressive and then realise, oh, I'm going to die. If you come up here, you have to commit to it. There is no point going up here and then suddenly stopping because you're dead. As soon as you stop in this position, you're dead. Because if you suddenly realise, oh no, there's a load of people over there, and then you stop, try and turn and fall back, it's better if you try and just progress and get behind this rock. Because at least then, you're spotting for your team, and you're going to get some spotting damage before you die. Because you are inevitably going to die if you're here on your own. So don't push this on your own, but maybe if you've got a few people with you, you say, okay, let's go and push this, fully aggressive. And then, if you've got enough tanks, you push this, you're going to win. So yeah, that's about it for medium tanks. Let's move on to the TDs. Okay, so TDs. Well, they have a couple of positions. From this side, obviously there's moving up onto the hill, which I've already shown you, so I'm going to count that as one position. But so yeah, the hill, which you can go with the medium tanks and try and shoot across. Or there's this position right here. Now, you ramp yourself up here, much like we did with the light tank. But you want to kind of get as high as possible, while still being able to have an easy vision. Now, you go up here, you have nice vision into the middle of the map. Now, there are a load of trees in the way, so let's get rid of them real quick. And just like that, you can then see the middle of the map. So obviously, you don't want to destroy the trees, because I'm just showing you what you'll be able to see. And you'll only be able to see the outlines because you are behind the trees. And the trees are going to stop you from being spotted from the middle of the map or anywhere else when you fire. So this position's really nice for early game. Anyone that's crossing here, you can have a nice shot on people that are going to cross. It's a great position to start the game off. Also, late game, you can actually move up. Say if your team loses this side of the map, you can actually have shots on people over there. So this position's very nice for this team. It's pretty powerful. You can shoot somewhat of the mid if people go up the top of there. But honestly, you just want to stay around here and just shoot the middle, shoot people over there, and you'll have a pretty decent time. I mean, if you find that you're not really doing anything on this flank or this position here, then you can go up to there, because it's only just a quick drive all the way around there, up there. Well, quick drive depending on what tank you're in. Okay, now for this side of the map. And this side of the map, yep, you guessed it, we're going to go and just camp around here. There's not too much you can do. Honestly, in a TD, in this kind of game, it's kind of horrible for the TDs if you spawn this side of the map. Because you have to really, really rely on your team to do anything. And it's a very campy map. Or at least that's why I say it's a very campy map. Because you're going to have to camp like this, behind these bushes. Because you don't want to be in the bush, because then you'll get spotted if you actually shoot. But I would recommend just sitting here for a second, waiting until, well, if the light tank gets spotted here. And more than likely, people are going to be spotted on the hill, because they'll over push and go up to there. So you've got positions to shoot there, there, and even there if they do peek up. Like here. Just move up so I can show you. But yeah, so you got eyes on pretty much everything, and this is why a lot of the TDs do sit here. You can sit further back, but yeah, I wouldn't recommend it, because then you lose vision on the hill. So this position is where all the TDs are going to go pretty much on this side of the map. And there's no real other place for them to go. And that's a big issue, because this side has so many potential. Like, you can go here, here, you know, where TDs on this side are loving life, and these TDs are just waiting, because they can't do anything. They can't push. They can't do anything that would actually assist the team in any way. They are literally the snipers sitting at the back of the map. And it's horrible. This map's, I feel, is very unbalanced towards this side. But let's now move on to the last class, the heavy tanks. Okay, so heavy tanks, the last class that I'm going to show you. Now, straight away, you want to go to here. A few tanks that I've already mentioned, the i7, the 277, faster heavy tanks, can go into this position, which I showed you with the 430U. And yes, that can work, but for the majority of heavy tanks, you want to go over here, or over this side here. And now, you don't want to go through the middle of the map and then turn, because that's just not really going to work. You're going to get spotted by a light tank that's might be coming through here. I don't know why he would be coming through here, but you're going to get spotted by anyone that's pushing here. And then, it doesn't help you in any way. It's only hindering your ability to stay alive if you go through the middle of the map and then turn. So straight away, you want to go here. Now, you can wait for the enemies and try and side-scrape. Obviously, the IS-7 isn't great at side-scraping. You would have to reverse side-scraping the IS-7. Or you could then push a little bit, and I would never go any more than here. Because if you arrive early and then push, chances are you're going to meet people that are around this corner. And then once you get to about this position right here, you then meet a whole host of enemy heavy tanks. And you're in a whole world of not good. Because, yeah, you could get here early and realize, okay, there's no one here. Let's just keep pushing. That's the worst thing you can do. Wait at least a minute or two. If no one's still arriving after a minute or two, the chances are they're either camping behind this rock or around here, or they're just not there. But it's very rare that after a minute or two that they haven't arrived. So if you get here and you're early, just wait around about here. And then I say wait around about here because if they are there, you can have a quick shot and then pull back. And you'll still have plenty of time to get out of the line of fire. And bearing in mind, you shouldn't be alone here. There should be at least 2-3 heavy tanks in total, including you, that can actually hold this position. Now there is a nice hold down spot around here that I will show you. However, it's not perfect and you're going to have to kind of make it work. It's right about here. Now, as I said, it's not perfect and you're going to have a heavy tank that's going to be pushing around this corner, and that's quite, well, fairly tall. It's not a perfect hold down location, as you can see. But if you're in a taller heavy tank, then this hold down location can work. You know, if you're in a mouse or something, you come up here, park yourself here, angle your turret like this so then you don't expose your cheeks, and then you just watch all the bounces. This could be pretty useful for heavy tank mission 15, or the blocking mission one. I can't remember what it is. But yeah, so this spot is nice for heavy tanks that can go hold down and then progress around once they need to. Now, what about from the other side of the map? Okay, so here we are. The other side of the map. Straight away, you want to go around here. As I've already stated, all the heavy tanks are going to be here. So, what you want to do is actually dip down here. The reason being, you're not going to get spotted, or it's less likely that you'll get spotted from anyone at the mid. Type 5 heavies, if you go too close, you will get spotted because you're, you know, quite tall tank. But IS-7s, you do this, it's easy. You're not going to get spotted. And the trick is to not tell the enemy how many tanks you have going here. Because if they realise, okay, we're going to be massively outnumbered going to this position, then they'll set up defensive perimeters around here. The TDs will get ready, and it's just an absolute slaughter for anyone that's coming through there. Because you don't have any other way of going there. The only way through here is through there. You can't flank around anywhere. The only way you can flank around is going through the middle of the map, and that's suicide as well. So, if you go to here, you really are pushing against the defending team. But straight away, if you're in a hold down tank that does have gun depression, say like a Super Conqueror, then you could actually go down here and just chill. Honestly, you go here and you're laughing. You know, IS-7s as well, this can work for IS-7s, although, you know, you don't have that much gun depression. See how I'm not able to get my gun depressed that much? That's going to be where a lower plate is. So I'm still aiming above. Aim for the cheeks. You know, you're going to need gold rounds. So this does work, but doesn't work for an IS-7. But Super Conqueror, there's no problem. You go there in your Super Conqueror, you're having a good time. Other than that, side scrape around here. You know, again, if you arrive here early, never push through. It's just not worth it. You don't want to push through there because you... Also, another spot that I missed. Late game for TDs, you can go here. Now, I know I didn't say this, But late game for TDs, you can go here. The reason why I didn't say it earlier with the TDs is because it doesn't really do anything. It's not worth it to go here in any way. You're really limiting yourself if you go here, so that's why I didn't suggest going here. But later on in the game, if you know you completely lost everything, then you can go here. And then once people push through this spot, then you can get smashed by a TD that's over there. But again, I wouldn't recommend it, even in late game. I know I just said that maybe in late game you could go there, but there's better positions around the map that you can go to. But yeah, so that's about it for heavy tanks. I mean, you can't really do much else in heavy tank. I wouldn't recommend going this side of the map in a heavy tank. It's not worth it unless you go into the middle. Again, you could do the same as the 430U that I showed you and go here. But again, it's very situational, that tank, or, you know, that position. Read the map. That's what you need to do. You need to first maybe look at what your team's composition is and the enemy team's composition is. Work out where the enemy are probably going to go and then try and counter them in a position. This map is all about counters. You know, you go here, you get countered there. You go and try and push here, you get countered from here. So this is what I'm saying. For heavy tanks, this map's easy. You just go here, and if you die, you die. If you win, you progress on and try and kill the rest of the team. But for any other tank, it's almost horrible to try and play this map. Don't get me wrong, this map isn't the worst map in the game. But there's certain points where you just think, okay, what was the balancing department really doing when they made this into 1.0? Because it used to be that this was never that open. And you had plenty of cover. And then they changed it all, and I don't even remember the old map now because it's been so long. But, you know, there's been certain changes in World of Tanks that have been a bit of a mystery to me. But that's besides the point. Quick 10-second recap. TDs, you can go here, here, if you spawn on this side of the map. Late game, you can push here, although I wouldn't recommend it. Medium tanks, you can go here or up here, and yeah, you can try and control this bit, but remember, it's all situational. Light tanks, again, this position is fantastic for light tanks, but you can also go here and try and get that initial spot on the enemies. It's a bit risky, but it can work. Heavy tanks, you just come here. You just go straight here and just happy days. Or 277, faster heavy tanks with a little bit of armor, go up here. From this side of the map, TDs, you just want to camp here. There's no other options for you, really. Yeah, it's horrible for TDs on this map. There's nothing you can do about it. Medium tanks, you can push here, or you can push up there. But remember, play aggressive if you're going to push up here. There's no point, you know, only committing half to this and then suddenly falling back because you're going to die when you fall back. Light tanks, maybe spot here. You could play aggressive and try an active spot, do a little scouting run, come around here, or go around there, spot, move back around here so you're still in cover from the enemies over here, and then move back there. As long as you know how the concealment works, you'll be okay to try and actively scout this and then, you know, go off and down there. Again, I don't recommend anybody playing the scout to go into the middle of the map. It's not worth it. You don't get that much spotting damage unless you have everyone. Well, you'd have to have all the stars be aligned if you're in a light tank and you get 1,000,000 spotting damage from here. And heavy tanks, of course, you just go straight there. The map guides that I'm making are for newer players that don't know about everything in World of Tanks, and even for players that do know a little bit more, it's always helpful to just have that refresher. So if you did enjoy this video, then please consider subscribing, drop a like on the video, share it with your friends, whatnot. Come and join the Discord. I'm always online on Discord. You can ask me whatever you want. Maybe give me some video ideas or feedback on how I could improve. And as always, I'll see you in a bit.